5:45, the alarm clock goes off. I reach over to the nightstand to hit the snooze button, only to remember I don't have a snooze button. I turn off the alarm. I sit up in bed, I glance around the room, forcing my eyes to focus. And the countdown begins. 1, I take a deep breath. 2, my feet touch the floor. And 3, she's off into the race. May not be one of the top contenders, but by golly, I'm still in the race. And I rip and I run till about 10:45 p.m. when I'm back in bed, and I'm hoping that my mind will catch up with my body and allow me to fall asleep so that I can get up the next morning and get back in the race all over again. Time, one of our most valuable assets. Young, old, blue collar, white collar, no collar, black, brown, white, or golden, rich or poor. The one thing most people can agree on is that time is one thing they need more of in their lives. I believe a person will say or do just about anything to keep from running out of it. In a study released last year by the International Labor Organization, this is an agency of the United Nations, states that American workers are putting in more time on the job than any other industrialized nation. Now, that's the only study I'll refer to. I think it's best for me to leave the studies and reports to the time management experts. I'm going to talk about one woman's personal struggle with time to find balance in her life. I know this story because this is my story. And in telling it, it helps keep me honest. And as the old folks used to say, right-sized. I'm not out there shopping for a red cape or thinking I can leap tall buildings in a single bound. I had this win at all costs. During the torpedoes, full speed ahead. Show me the money and win or nothing at win or nothing kind of attitude. And time is money and money is time. Got to make the money. And you know what happened? One day it simply stopped working for me. People would say, Eve, you better slow down and get some rest. And I'd say, I will rest when I'm dead. Or they'd say, Eve, what about having some fun in your life? I go, oh, there's plenty of time for fun. Fun is down the line right now. I got to make hay while the sun shines. That was my father's favorite expression. Or my family or a significant other would complain that I wasn't spending enough time with them. And I'd set them down and go, you know, all that I'm doing today is for us. Don't you understand? It's for our future. So, you know, be a team player. Don't make it any harder on me. You know, understand. That all changed, that way of thinking. You know, my journey has been a long one. It's taken a long time for me to get to this place that I'm at today, a place of acceptance and a willingness to live life on life's terms. I have all kinds of reasons for not being able to manage my time better, because that's really what it was. By not being able to manage my time and not respecting how precious time is, my life was just simply out of control. Because it was out of control, it almost destroyed me. We all witnessed in horror September the 11th as how the world changed. It stood still, it changed. And the world will never be the same again. As thousands of people died quickly and without warning. And thousands more are gonna die as a result of it. Many people I've talked to, and also the television interviews that I've seen, some people have viewed this as a wake-up call about their own mortality and how precious our time is. I saw people on television holding up pictures or holding up posters of their fiancés, their mothers, their fathers, their lovers, their moms and dads, searching for them in the streets of New York City, in the hospitals, and at the morgues, just for some sign. It's funny, I did not see one single person holding up an enlarged $100 bill with Ben Franklin's picture on it on a green backdrop saying, "Have you seen this man?" Not one single person. It takes crises like this as a situation of this magnitude for us as human beings to get down to the basic, to realize what's truly, truly important in life. In preparing for this speech and others, I talked to many people who'd moved here to Maui, just like myself, and sharing with me their reasons for moving here to this beautiful paradise. One reason kept coming up over and over again. They wanted to move themselves and their families out of the rat race. Ironic, isn't it, that many of us find ourselves back in a rat race that we've created here? If, and I repeat, if you find that your life has taken on a life of its own and that you are running scared to run out of time, and that you are wishing on a daily basis, that is, that there were more than 24 hours in the day, then maybe, just maybe, it's time that you rethink some of your goals and your aspirations and try to remember back what made you move to paradise. And are you doing some of those things that you promised yourself and you promised your family that you'd be doing here? Think about it for a moment. How well do you balance your time? We all think about it. We all talk about it. We say it in different words, different ways, and then we read magazine articles on the subject, and we buy books on the subject, and still we turn around and we make appointments and commitments and promises that are almost humanly impossible to keep over and over again, but somehow we manage to pull them off. But at what cost? And whatever the cost, is it worth it? Around the time that I was forced to change, and I'm forced to change, who likes to be forced to change? Nobody. Show me one hand. Not one hand out there. Okay. The time I was forced to change, it all looked pretty good to me. And if you were to meet me, you would just be impressed. You would think, well, my goodness, there's a well-adjusted, very capable, beautiful, intelligent, very articulate, serious American businesswoman. May not be one of those that who've already made it, but she's definitely up and coming. And my business was doing well, steadily growing. I've been voted the best cleaning service in the city of Long Beach, California. I had crews working full-time, 5-6 days a week. I had a party service, hiring bartenders, maids, servers. I was singing 2 nights a week at a supper club. I was attending advanced acting classes because I'd gotten back in Screen Actors Guild, so I was going back on commercial auditions. Then it seemed kind of easy. I go, why not? I started teaching commercial workshops on Saturday morning. And I belonged to 2 networking groups. TIPS, anybody heard of TIPS? And I also belong to a very active, huge Chamber of Commerce, the Long Beach Chamber of Commerce. Did I mention that at that time that I was also involved with a much younger man that I lived with? Now, ladies, you know, a much younger man that you are living with will keep you on your toes and make you wishing that you do have more time. It was the most intense, tumultuous, and demanding thing I've ever been. I smile when I say it. Now, the straw that broke the camel's back was a dinner party, a black-tie dinner party at the Chamber of Commerce. Now, I had a party service. I had bartenders, servers, maids. We would bring the food in. We would present it. We would serve it, and we'd clean up. What can be so hard about cooking it? What could be so hard about it? Anyway, I turned in a bid, And less than 2 weeks later, I get a check in the mail for a deposit of $900. And a letter said they'd accepted my bid. Well, that was it for me. By the time he got home, I was hiding in the corner naked, hiding from the phone with the drapes blowing, saying, don't answer that phone. Don't answer that phone. You know, God has a way of doing for us what we cannot do for ourselves. Who believes that? Yeah. Well, he took over. The check had to be returned, along with a letter of apology, and he made me tell the truth, by the way. Well, he wrote it. I had to sign it. Then I had to cancel parties that I had already booked. I had to give bonuses to my cleaning people so I would keep those clients. I had to eat humble pie. I had to appear to be a flake, which is nobody wants that. And just eating humble pie is so nasty. And I had to take the time to slow down and really look how I'd been living. And I got all kind of reasons. All kind of reasons. Everybody's got a reason. Always easy to find something to blame, somebody to blame. Why I had allowed myself to not manage my time better. One reason is I had bought into the myths, the slogans, the antidotes, the ideals about how we are supposed to indeed live our lives. Some of these slogans date back to the Puritans. Idle hands are the devil's workshop. Don't be idle. Once the job has begun, do not stop until it's done. What if you done put in 12 hours? Do you keep on to the 13th? Win. Winning isn't everything, it's the only thing. Coach Lombardi was credited with that, and later he said he didn't say it that way. Be number one, success, money. I heard one recently about success. I'll paraphrase it. It had something to do with strive for success. Anything less than that is a waste of time. Well, where was I? I must have been on a coffee break when good stopped being good enough. It used to be, you know? And nobody wants to be called the dirty word average. Nobody. When in fact, that's what most of us are, average looking, average size, average intelligence, and then so are our children. In a dream that Abe Lincoln was supposed to have recounted to a group of friends, he was walking through a crowd. Now, you know, Abraham Lincoln, our 16th president, was a great man, but he was no Robert Redford. And he was heard someone in the crowd say, "What an ordinary looking man." And he said to have turned and walked back to this crowd and said, "Yes, but God seems to favor ordinary looking people. That's why he created so many of us." Another reason why I was unable to manage my time better is because I lacked faith in God. That's a hard one, because I thought God and me were just like this. After all, I sang in the church. I went to church. I even got down on my knees and prayed. Okay? But when it came down to it, my faith and trust in God went as far as those 4 letters that are on a dollar bill. In God we trust. I trusted you if you had it, and I trusted me if I had it. My trust was in people, places, and things. I did not spend the time with God, which meant I never went to go visit him in his house. I would not read the Bible, nor did I take the time to instruct my children on spirituality. Another reason, though I took the time to always fix up and look good, but it was really just to camouflage this low self-esteem that I had. I had 2 ways to go. Either I was working to prove those people wrong who said I'd never amount to anything, or either I was working to prove those people right who said I had a lot of potential. That sound familiar to anybody? So I had all these reasons. I just got these questions. It's a good point in life to have these questions, especially about how I'm living my life. And I hope that you have some questions when you leave here about how you're living your life. And is this